What's going on, guys? This is Gene Jensen, and with this video I want to show you guys how I rigged my MotorGuide Xi3 to be able to stow and deploy it while I'm sitting down in my kayak. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over how I have this rigged, talk about some of the little details and the issues that I had while I was figuring things out with this thing. But I think I've got it pretty much down to where it can stow and deploy on the first try every single time. So let's start with the beginning right here. So first thing you do is you take and you tie yourself about a 5.5, 6 foot long string. This is 550 cord to the top of your to the shaft on your kayak. I tried to tie it up here or run a zip tie up here. This will not work. If you tie it up here or try to run it straight off the back, then when you pull it up, it's always going to end up getting locked right here. And it'll look just like that, and as you can see, it won't stay up. So you don't want to have anything, have it attached to this part of the trolling motor. You want to have it right here. Now, the other issue that I had was the transducer cable, the internal transducer cable. Jordan, come a little closer. The problem you had is that the transducer cable would get bunched up in this area right here. So when you stowed it, it always would get caught up and get clamped in here. Simple solution. Just tie a zip tie right here, zip it in right there, and make sure you have most of the slack on this part of the motor. Have all the slack pulled up in here and zip tie it right there, and that problem will never happen again. So the next problem that we have is being able to depress or push the release button down when you're stowing and deploying the trolling motor. Okay, that's a big issue. A lot of fun trying to climb up in the front of the kayak and do that. So this is a really simple solution that had its a few little quirks in the process. So let's go over that. All right, so the first thing I did was I scavenged some parts, scavenged some parts out of a rudder kit for the Bonafide. But you can pretty much use anything, washers, whatever. I just happened to have a little knob that I could tie a rope through. So Jordan, come up here real close. Let me show this. Okay, so it's simple. I drilled a hole as far forward and center of the button. I just tied some rope through it in a loop on this end and a knot on this end. And then coming up out of the kayak, see, this also came with the rudder kit. You don't need one of these, it just makes it look nice and clean. But I brought a rope up out of the kayak and a stainless steel carabiner that hooks in right there, okay? So now, come down here. That rope, and you can use 550 cord. This is am steel, really super strong. It's just what I had around the house. But I have it coming out right here where all I gotta do is pull this, and the button comes down and the button gets pushed. Okay, all right, so one of the issues I had when I first started doing this is, one, I used a thinner rope that came with the rudder kit, and it ended up not being strong enough. It broke, and so I had to use some 550 cord, and the 550 cord worked pretty good, but it liked to bind up. So I'd pull it and I'd actually have to push the rope back down through the hole to make it to where the button would pop back up. And that was a big issue, and I couldn't quite figure out how to solve it. I went to the am steel and I still had the same problem. So let me show you how I solved it. All right, so inside the kayak, you can see the ropes right here, and it goes all the way through, you know, it goes from one spot, or from the trolling motor to the back. What I did is I took some shock cord. This is just some red shock cord that I had lying around, and I tied it to the rope to where when I pull the rope this way and it gets bound up, the shock cord pulls it back and gives me enough slack to where the button will pop back up. Pretty simple, problem solved. You can, I would literally, what I'm thinking about doing is just drilling a hole in the side right here, or a hole underneath inside the kayak, and tying it off right there. But for right now, it's just tied to one of the wires and it works just fine. The other thing is a lot of times when you push the button down, it stays stuck down. Simple solution. When the kayak itself is just vibrated, or you just push the forward button on your remote control, it pops right back up. And so that's one thing you'll notice. It'll get stuck down there, with a simple shake, and it pops back up. So with relieving that tension on the line, or that binding on the line, and just shaking the kayak, it pops right back up. So when you pull it up and you're getting ready to stow it, what I have found that is if you have your motor pointed off at this angle right here, it's not quite a 45-degree angle, but it's pointed off in this direction, and you pull it up, and as you release it from the little bracket that's down here, it will want to fall that way. Okay, so you have it at that angle, pull it up, it starts to fall, and you just finish off and it slides right into place. The other issue that you might have is, look right down here. You see those scratches I have right here? That's from using my paddle to push it. So when you push the button down, you've got to have some way of knocking this thing loose, okay? And the easiest way to do it is with the end of a paddle or with the butt end of your fishing rod. Either way, you just push it out and it slides out. I'd push it out just a little bit though, just to where it comes unlocked from the housing, just like that. Make sure you have your rope in one hand, push it with your paddle, and let it slide down and go as quiet as you possibly can. All right, so the main reason I did this video was because that question pops up a lot on Facebook, and with the XI3 and the popularity of it growing and growing, I know that question is going to come up a lot. But hopefully I spent enough time working out all the bugs of this system. It has worked really, really good for me, and I know it will for you. But like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water. Go ahead and catch some fish and have a great day. We'll see you.